Hey guys, Magnus Robert here, bringing you another video. So of course, Act 2 has dropped. I've played through Act 2, and I've played through the premium gameplay, which I of course have uploaded to my channel. So it is time to review both Act 1 and Act 2. So if you're not familiar with this kind of video series I do when we get major events, basically what I'm going to be doing is reviewing Act 1 and the prize track. Then I'll follow it by just briefly reviewing the premium character and the premium kind of combo, and then I'll follow it up again with reviewing Act 2, the prize track, and then reviewing the Act 2 character. And of course, when Act 3 and 4 drops, I will be reviewing them in the same way. So starting off with Act 1, Act 1 is of course called Birthday Party for One, and we've got a cool little selection of things here. So there is no buildings in the Act 1 prize track. There is also no buildings in the Act 2 prize track. We'll get onto that in the later part of the video. So the first prize is of course the Go-Go Ray. Now I want to say this one is cool. This is a really cool little decoration. The decoration itself isn't great, but it actually comes with an animation which is really awesome. I like the fact that the animation wasn't given as a separate prize and the animation was included within getting this decoration. Very awesome. I like it when they do that. The second prize is the Millhouse Balloon Archway. I actually really like this decoration. It's really bright and colourful and looks really awesome, so I think I definitely give a thumbs up for that one too. Then we've got the Millhouse Bounce House. Again, this one is great, looks really awesome. Obviously you got the big Millhouse head there, it just looks really cool. The fourth prize is a token. Now I've talked about tokens before. I want to briefly just say I'm okay with tokens, and to be honest, in this event it's fine. As long as they're only done once in the prize track, it's great. But my biggest issue with tokens is I really think they could just add them with another prize. So we could have got a building here instead maybe, and they could have given us the token and a building. That's like my one kind of negative point about tokens. And then the final prize is of course Annika, who is Annika? I think that's how you say it. I think I called her Anakia at first, but that's not how you say it. I think it's Annika. But Annika, of course, who is, of course, Millhouse's cousin. She is the final prize. Very cool character. Got some cool animations, and her quest line was pretty decent too. So overall, I think this prize track, this act, in terms of the free stuff, is pretty solid. Now, there is no building, which I do think is negative, because I think it's always best to have a building in the prize track. It's difficult really because obviously there isn't one here, but I think overall it's still a good act. It just would have been better if we got a building in there. They could have like replaced where the token was with a building and given us the token and the building. And for a good building, for an example, is Donna's Party Supplies, which is of course a Springfield Mall building, but it's a party supply shop. Makes sense to add that, you know. It's about Millhouse's birthday party, so I don't see why they couldn't have given us that building, but whatever. Let's move on to the premium character. So of course the Act 1 premium item was Kirkmadeus Van Houten, and he came with the Van Houten's Villa. Pretty cool combo overall. I think this is probably one of the better premium things. Now the actual Kirkmadeus Van Houten only ever appeared in a photo, so he's like a photo brought to life, if you will, but I think he's a significant enough family member that it justifies him being added as a full character. I do think the villa is also very cool as well. I think it's a little scaled. It's scaled a little weirdly in my opinion, but nevertheless it's still a decent building. And yeah, Kirkmadeus as a character is pretty decent too, so yeah, I'll definitely give him a thumbs up. I think price is 150, reasonable enough. The building is okay, and the character is very cool. So yeah, overall pretty good. Then we have Act 2. So Act 2 is of course called Sidekicked Aside. So another pretty decent act, I would say, overall. However, there is one thing which is kind of negative. Now, I thought the questline for the birthday party stuff in the first act was pretty decent. The questline in this is a little it's alright, it's still decent. But the biggest issue is some players couldn't actually progress because they have to send characters to the movie theatre. Now, and of course, if you don't have the movie theatre in the Springfield Heights, you can't progress, which is very annoying. So, yeah, I'm not sure if there is a way around it, but I know that you have to use that building. I know that there was some people complaining about it. So, anyone who's got any more information about that, please tell me. Obviously, I can't tell because I have the theatre. I can't, like, get rid of it, if you know what I mean. So yeah, in terms of the prizes, we of course have the Millhouse squishy machine, which is pretty decent. The Galetto stand, which is okay, it's pretty cool. These Stolback table, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but yeah, this one's like I'm not actually a massive fan of this because it's kind of hard to see. It's not a great decoration in my opinion, but it's not terrible, I guess. Then we have a token. Made my opinion on that pretty clear. And the final prize is a costume for Millhouse called Cool Millhouse. So in terms of the costume as the final prize, I'm fine with costumes as prizes. I do think though, because we've got the Cool Millhouse in this act, and in the fourth act we've got the Italian Millhouse, I'm a little iffy on that. I'm not entirely happy with costumes being twice, especially when it's for the same character. That's I'm not big on. I'm fine for it for one act, but for two acts, I'm kind of like on it. Now, to be fair, it's much better than Game of Games, the sequel, where we had just costumes throughout. There was no characters, so I still don't think it's a terrible thing. I think this costume is okay. I don't think it's great, but it's certainly decent. It's just not amazing at all. So yeah, I think overall this act is still good, but again, lacking buildings. I really want some buildings, man. So yeah, this one it's still good though, I would say. And then we have Houtens as the premium character. Now, of course, he came with the Canadian tour bus thing. What was it called? The Discoverer Vancouver bus. And it was 150 donuts, which I don't think it should have been. It should have been like 120, 125 at the most. Obviously, if you look ahead, all of the next premium things all come with decorations and not buildings, which I'm fine with. Don't get me wrong, but they're all also 150 donuts, and this really shouldn't be the case. It's a little overpriced in my opinion. So I think it should have been cheaper, but nevertheless, I do think the Millhouse character is pretty cool. The character in himself is awesome. It's got really, really cool animations, especially the moose cart carriage thing. Very awesome. Yeah, definitely a worthwhile character, do not get me wrong, but I just think it's a little tiny bit pricey. But so yeah, that's my opinions on Millhouse. So let's kind of wrap up my thoughts. So overall, I think both Act 1 and Act 2 are decent. I do not think they're great. I would say they're decent though. They're certainly like they're kind of decent to good overall. I think maybe if we were in a stronger year for Tapped Out, as in kind of, 2014, 2015, 2016 kind of era, where we had really, really strong updates, I probably would say that this is bad. But in terms of the stuff we've got recently, I think this is still, this is decent. I think the one good thing about this is the decorations are, really, really jazzy, They're really, they look really good. And I think that's probably why I'm leaning more to saying that these two acts are decent than I would to say bad. Now, don't get me wrong, I still think it is a negative thing that we haven't got any buildings in any of the acts, especially considering there are definitely some buildings they could have given us, which I highlighted in some of the in my original review. I highlighted like 3 buildings they could have given us. And I'm still a bit annoyed that we're not, especially with the Grandma Van Houten's apartments. That one really annoys me because the one time we saw that character, we saw her in the apartments. So, why aren't we getting the apartments? It doesn't make sense. But, yeah, I think there were buildings they could have given us, and I really wish they did give us some more buildings in both of these acts. But, at the same time, I still think they're decent with the decorations. I think the decorations are good, so I'm still leaning to these being decent. So anyway, that is it for my opinions on both Act 1 and Act 2 of the Van Houten's event. Tell me your thoughts on both Act 1 and Act 2. Do you like them? Do you hate them? What's your biggest criticism of them? And yeah, I shall see you in the next video. Thanks for watching as always. Goodbye.